16th. Hello and welcome to the CanesWear podcast. Thank you for your patience. We had a couple of technical delays, but we are here now, and Mondo will be joining us in a few minutes. Today is Thursday, the 16th of April. That's 4/16. The year is moving on fast. Tax day was yesterday. The tax man cometh. Hopefully, it wasn't too bad for too many. But it's a great day to be a Canes fan, Gio. We've got Canes spring game coming up tomorrow or Saturday. We've got a lot of great things happening in football, basketball. We're signing the portal guys. It's really exciting what Coach Lucas is doing. Baseball is going well. So great time to be a Canes fan. So much excitement around Coral Gables and everything right now. So glad that everybody can join. I see a lot of our regulars. I see a lot of new people. It's awesome today. So I want to thank everyone for liking and subscribing to our new CanesWear TV channel. Thank you very much. If you haven't, like and subscribe. We got lots of really cool things going on. We've got, of course, the CanesWear Pod. We've got Who Wants to Smoke with Gio and Amon. We've got some other really cool shows coming up as well. So remember, we're always here for your ideas as well. CanesWear sponsors us, the Spot, Miami and South Florida Sports Fan Shop. Lots of cool things. Gio, we just got a Mario's Army shirt. Really cool. I'll show you the picture of that in a minute. A lot of other really cool things and T-shirts. Just got in More Fear the Future, Envy the Past, which not too many people can say here if you're in Florida besides the Canes. So a lot of great things happening, a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. You can tell I'm wound up and ready to go. So without any further ado, Gio!
What's up, Brett? Happy Thursday. I know some people are probably wondering why we were not on earlier this week, actually. So had a personal matter with family and everything. Had to go to the hospital and whatnot. Everything is okay, thankfully. I know quite a few people reached out to me. People were wondering, hey, where are you at and everything. But everything is good. Everyone's healthy now. So right back into the mode. We're still in spring football. Spring football has not ended. You got the spring game on Saturday. Today was the last sort of practice because Mario Cristobal shared during today's presser that the spring game, at least the first half of it, will be basically the simulation of what is a practice for Miami. Then the second half will be some thudding and then some full-on contact as well as the game continues on Saturday. So few details about Saturday. I know several people have asked me, how do I get tickets? How do I get tickets? There's no more from Miami, at least. That has been done with ever since the day they released it. It was a very small allotment. I know a lot of people have complained like, oh man, why weren't there so many this year? There's still construction going on campus for the expansion to the indoor practice facility. I spoke with a couple of friends that were out there today at today's practice, and things are coming along well. Definitely progress. The expectation is that everything should be good to go for fall ball. God forbid nothing happens in between or anything, any delays, but that is the expectation that they'll have everything rolling for that. And the other thing in terms of the timing for the spring game. So I highly recommend to people, because I've driven down there many, many times, and this is just for practices or events in the past, but for an actual spring game, because I've attended Miami spring games on campus as well, be there early. I know it says gates open at such and such time. Be there early. The highest recommendation I can give you, if you want to get decent parking and be able to participate in everything, like how they have the autographs going on in the IPF beforehand and everything that they do festivity-wise for the fans before the game begins, at minimum get there at 7 o'clock. I know that that's asking maybe too much from some people, like, oh man, I got to be out there that early. But yes, game's at 10:15, but you don't want to arrive within 30 minutes before that, because you're going to have a lot of trouble finding parking. It has to do with the construction going on. Parking is much more limited this time around. So be prepared, get there early, have a great time out there. If I see any of you out there, feel free to say hello. You know, I don't bite, friendly guy. So I hope everyone has a great time at the spring game. I know many people are excited to get a look at this year's team. I think people, rightfully so, should be excited considering the run Miami just came off of. And I think they look really strong for going into this season. Honestly, Brett, I like what I've seen. I like what I've been told. I think this team is continuously going to go in the right direction. I think Miami has their guy in Mario Cristobal. I absolutely do believe so. And if anyone's been paying attention to the X timeline for the last few days, it's been some trash talking going on from the University of Florida and everything in general towards Miami. You see Miami coaches even making comments like, we run the state, or we won't back down, referring to the Tom Petty song that Gators use within their stadium of sorts, if you want to call it a stadium. But without further ado, though, Brett, let's get right into it, my man. Spring game expectation-wise, like what can people expect out there? There's no broadcast, as we mentioned before the other week. There's no way to watch it live. Now, if you attend there in person, I know from the past, they would have a sort of pseudo lounge for Golden Canes. If you're a donor to the program, they have some sort of private lounge that you can hang out in there and everything. They got some TV screens up, and you can watch the spring game from inside of there while you're on campus, or if you prefer to just watch it from the sidelines as well at Cobb Stadium. And it will have play-by-play commentary by WQAM, with Don Bailey and Joe Zagacki as well. They always do a great job over the radio covering every single one of these big events for Miami year in, year out. So if you're not able to make it down, look, you'll have play-by-play updates by there. I'm going to be posting directly to X. I know all the fans that are not able to go, they want to hear and see what's going on. So I will try the absolute best to give as much as possible for everyone to be able to see it. And in terms of just the overall layout, look, I want to remind people that do watch the spring game, or what you hear from it, take it for what it is. Again, it's basically one scrimmage of sorts / practice. So let's say if a guy doesn't have like the greatest thing, but did really well during spring, sometimes that happens. I've seen guys that they get to the spring game, they have a really good performance, and people are like, whoa, wait a minute. But it's just one isolated, more glorified practice in itself. So don't run away with hot takes like, oh, this guy sucks, or this guy that, or whatever, because I know fans can overreact. But in terms of everything else that I expect, I want to see a clean game from the quarterbacks. I want to see how Luke Nickel performs in a live scrimmage setting as well on Saturday. I've heard plenty. I've said it plenty as well that he has been much improved from last year. The running back group, I want to get an even closer look at Jordan Lyle. He's continuously had a very good spring. I know there's some Jordan Lyle haters out there. I don't know, man. Brett,
I don't know if anybody hates him, but I do know you are high on him, which is very important. But I don't think anyone hates Jordan Lyle.
No, there's definitely, I will say there's definitely some haters, because after we finished recording the other week, someone dropped a comment saying, what are you talking about? He said, Jordan Lyle sucks. I'm like, oh man, well, that's very
exactly. He sucks until he's back on the field and doing well. You know, the fans are like goldfish. They forget everything once someone plays well. If someone plays bad, they'll remember it. They play well. You know, we hate you. You're terrible. You dropped the ball. Get off our team. You scored a touchdown. We love you. What were we thinking? We made us a mistake. Yeah, they'll love him as soon as he does well. And I hope every kid does well. I mean, like when you have kids, you don't want to play favorites. When you have favorite team players, you know what? We want every kid to do good. I mean, you should be rooting for everybody that's in orange and green to do well on the field.
Yeah, and some of the other expectations I have too is, for the fans to be able to get to see what we've all been talking about in the media, that the belief that Miami could have a much more explosive offense this year with the group of receivers they have. The hype that we have drummed up plenty around Joshua Moore. Look, I know I'm not the only one. It's been one of the most highly discussed things throughout the spring, like the emergence of Joshua Moore, his development from last season to this year. It's really impressive. I hope he puts on a great show for the fans to kind of validate what we've been talking about, kind of similar to what we were saying about Malachi Toney around this time last year. And that came to fruition within last year's spring game. He had like 2 touchdowns in the spring game last year. The tight ends group, I want to see how they do in a live scrimmage setting. I want to see if there's been any thorough improvement, if any changes or anything of the sort. Also, specifically, even from the blocking aspect of things, has there been improvements there? Offensive line-wise, I think the other big story, at least for the offensive side of the ball this spring, it's been Jackson Cantwell and how well has responded to such a large role early on in his career, being the left tackle, the blind side for Darian Mensah, and how well he's done this spring with that role. I want to see how it is for him. And the reason why I want to see how it is, because I've spoken about this with Amon Richards himself, and he's always says this, and I've always thought this too, that there's one thing that you're doing something in practice or scrimmages when there's not a lot of people there. And Cobb Stadium's not going to be filled up like Hard Rock Stadium for a big game against like Notre Dame or just a marquee matchup like that. But there is a setting within that, like it's kind of a simulated game that people are watching. Not necessarily that pressure is on, but people are watching. They're watching every little thing you're doing, any mistake that you make, and just the criticism behind it. So I want to see how some of these guys respond to that, whether they sink or swim when it comes to that situation. And the rest of the offensive line, just, I've talked plenty about Max Buchanan since last year. He's emerged this spring. He's been the starting right guard the whole way through. Matthew McCoy making his switch back over to playing tackle now, playing at right tackle. So just some of those storylines there. But defensively, though, Brett, I've been hearing since last week's scrimmage that the defensive line has really come on. The defensive line has absolutely really come on. And I know people have been pondering the thoughts and the questions throughout this offseason, like, can they match that type of production that Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor brought to the table, and just what that entire group did last year as a collective? I'm not ready to say that they will, but there's definitely a lot of positive returns on the edge rusher group that they may be a little more ahead of where people expected at this point, considering who they have to replace. Not that it's going to be a 1-for-1 they replace it. I'm not ready to say that, but I do think it's encouraging, the feedback that I've gotten on that group, especially coming out of the last scrimmage. Guys like Armando Blunt, Marquise Lightfoot, Damon Wilson, Herbert Scroggins, even a guy like Booker Pickett as well has stepped up recently. So I've always been with this thought. I've said it throughout spring that I think Miami's interior D-line can absolutely be better than the group from last year. But I'm curious to hear, not so much here anymore, but to see on Saturday what that looks like in a longer setting for my own eyes, to see how those guys have progressed and where can they match up comparatively to what Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain did last year. And linebacker-wise, too, just a lot of different bodies in that room now. Some guys have improved from last year. Mario's been very vocal about it for the past week, saying that he wants the guys that are younger than your Muhammad Touré's and Chase Smiths to really step up to the plate. I heard good things about two in particular, like Cam Pruitt and Kamal Bonner coming out of the previous scrimmage the week before, but want to see more. I want to see with my own eyes where the younger guys are with that group, because if the fans say it, I'm sure Mario has thought it too, that to continue elevating that position group to reach the standard that Miami fans, or just people that have watched Miami over the years, that they expect from the linebacker position. And defensive backs, it's one of the strongest groups on the team, but I will say I'm just excited to see more J.J. Dunnigan. I'll just keep that one very, very simple. I want to see how he does in that setting, like a longer setting, like almost a full game of sorts, kind of, like the good and the bad. Like how does everything weigh? So overall, I'm just excited, Brett. I want to get a longer look at this team. It's only so limited what they show us to the media. Sometimes we have to get the breadcrumbs for speaking to people who get to see more of the private stuff, but I do like what I'm hearing. I'm bullish on this year's team. I do think the offense can be more explosive. I do think the roster's well balanced. Yeah, could there be questions at tight end or a little bit of linebacker? Yeah, but I do think there is talent in those rooms. It's more so they got to bring it out of those guys.
All right, that is an awesome take, and if Mondo would have been in her time, he probably would have delivered that on his own. So. Welcome to the show, Mondo. You were just telling me about J.J. Donnigan before the show. So welcome to the show.
I think Gio Gio did that better than I would. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
How's it going, Mondo? We've missed you lately. How are you doing?
We good. How you guys doing? How's everybody out there doing?
Everyone's doing fantastic.
Everyone's good.
For your muscular appearance. We finally have the Gio. We finally have we got the comedy in me. We got the brains in you, and now we got the looks and the brawn of Mondo. So the show is definitely now back, and we've got it going again. The three are together.
If only I had the Gio dreamy hair, I'd have the whole package. Right?
I wouldn't say dreamy hair so much. My hairline has changed so much over the last 5 years.
No, just looking for. I was reading a little while ago about the it's going to be like a difference. I don't know if you alluded to it in the first 10-15 minutes. The new spring game format. You brought it up already? Okay.
Yeah, so Mario has mentioned, like, kind of. Well, not really kind of. He basically outright said, he said like a practice the first half of it, like how they do things with their practice. And then the second half, you'll have thudding and then full-on contact.
I'm not going to lie. I think I kind of like it that way. I kind of like that format. So it should be interesting in a couple of days. So I'll be out. Looking forward to being out there. You're going to be out there, Gio?
Yes, I'll be out there.
Okay, cool. Brett?
I see Mondo posting. I will not be there. I'll be at the store. We are short. Jeff's still on his cruise. Ken is at some event. I'll be at the store on a Saturday, and we'll be open. There'll be plenty of people coming in after the. I know tomorrow will be busy. People will be coming in. I think we're gonna have some. I think you heard maybe coming in there. The podcasters, our great friends over there, maybe coming in tomorrow. A bunch of other people also on Saturday after the scrimmage. Everybody come on over, hang out at CanesWear. It'll be fun. We've got the new Mario's Army shirt coming in. Let me see if this works here. I'm testing something out here. Tell me if this. Can you see the shirt right here? Let's see. Mario's Army. The new shirt is there. We've got this now. Can you see that?
Yeah, you got to get out the way. There you go.
There you go.
All right, so Mario's Army shirt. It's Restore the Glory. Join Mario. It's a great shirt by Smack Apparel. Just came out. Very excited. Just came in the store today. So that'll be a great shirt. We're going to get that in multiple colors as well. But the orange, obviously, for what Mario likes the best. But I'm just excited. It's a great time. Like I said before you came on, Mondo, the football spring is here. What Coach Lucas is doing in basketball is phenomenal right now. The excitement, the energy of the way he's building this thing. Baseball, it's just an exciting time to be a Canes fan.
Yeah, as far as Saturday is. Go ahead, Gio.
Even the other guy they have visiting right now, the FIU forward, he actually played for Coach Moran at Columbus and with Caleb Gaskins, who's also coming in from the high school end of things as well. So even just the two recent signees as well. Like I mentioned on the last show that we were on a week ago, I said, that things were trending very well with Somto Cyril. Miami ended up signing him that went official. And then a Caden Lewis, I mentioned last week that, Miami was expecting him in as well. So I like how they're already constructing the roster. They got some space to work with, but they got great pieces coming back. And then you speak about just the age of some of these guys they're looking at too. Some multi-year guys, like there's not seniors and everything. You're talking about first year, second guys coming up their first year, second years, and they still got time to play with going forward. So like I've said before, I'm a full believer in what Jay Lucas did. He exceeded every expectation I ever had for his first season at Miami. I see the way they approach recruiting. I see the way they attack the transfer portal. I've said this, that I see no reason why Miami can't become a big power in basketball across the country. I think of it just geographically and resource-wise. Maybe it doesn't match yet to like maybe what UNC or these Kentuckys put out there, but I do think it's well on its way there. I do think in the upcoming years we're going to see quite the transformation.
Mondo?
No, you see online like all the big college basketball pundits talking about it, that look out, because you saw what he did in year one, and we're in mid-April now, and the running joke was last April he had no players. Yeah. And now he's got, financial backing from the program, and he can flat out coach. He's from the Duke coaching tree. I know some people weren't exactly thrilled with the hire, for sure. I know some personally, friends of mine, but he more than shut them up a few weeks into the season. And he's the truth. He is going to be dangerous. You see, North Carolina just changed their coach. I know he was an NBA guy in Malone, but there's an opportunity here for Jay Lucas and Miami to really, really do something very exciting here the next year or two going forward.
Miami could still even make a splash from the high school ranks. The kid who just decommitted from North Carolina, I forget his name now. I have to look at it again, but he officially visited Jay Lucas in Miami just during the recruiting cycle and whatnot. Sometimes these guys, like when the head coach moves on or gets fired or whatever, they get the release.
Isn't he a top level? Isn't he like top 5 or so in the country?
A 5-star prospect.
Wow.
So the possibility, not saying it happens yet, I got to find out more on it, but the possibility to even talk about Miami signing 2 5-stars in basketball, when's the last time anyone heard of it? I don't think that's ever even happened, that Miami got 2 5-stars in one class in basketball. So I think things are definitely changing at the Watsco Center.
I think you're seeing a lot of energy in the synergy between the football and the basketball. Mario being last year proved that he belongs. A lot of us Canes fans, myself included, we're like, Mario's great, but we need to win the games. And there's a lot of head coaches that were not great coaches, but they were great recruiters. Mario, after SMU, I think he turned it around. Obviously, and the winning those 3 playoff games was huge, including beating Ohio State was obviously the big one. They were all big, but obviously beating Ohio State. And now you've got Jay Lucas here. You've got a changing the guard. There's no more Mike Krzyzewski. There's no more, there's not any of the guys from Dean Smith to all the coaches that followed at North Carolina. Miami could be one of the top teams in the ACC in both football and basketball. And that could be awesome because is there one player that you guys are excited about? You've read about some of these guys, the kid from Villanova, the kid from Georgia, the center. Is there anyone that you follow that you're saying to yourself, wow, this guy is going to be a game changer for us next year?
I really like the Villanova kid. Miami came so close to signing him last year, actually. It was just literally by inches they missed out on him, and he wanted to get out of the situation at Villanova. He ended up feeling like he wanted to actually go sign with Miami instead, with play for Jay Lucas. So, that's why I always say too, you can't be a sore loser when it comes to recruiting.
Anymore, no, because the kids are they're getting 3, 4, 5 cracks at a different team each year. It's like I think there'll be less kids that stay than move on. So we got to take advantage of these, the opportunity when these kids come there. How about you, Mondo? Anyone that you've looked at and said, "Wow, this guy's special"?
No, special to me is the head coach. That's what I'm looking at right now. To be honest with you,
can't get a better. That was awesome. The guy.
Well, actually, wait. So that was more so like from new additions, but I will say from current roster, if Shelton Henderson develops his jump shot a little more,
Mhm.
I think he's a lottery pick if he does.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big words, because I still think you can get him for 200 to 1.
I'll tell you what,
No.
I'm going to give credit in terms of coaching here. Shelton Henderson also exceeded my expectations for his freshman year too. I was not expecting him to be that good his first year.
Well, I definitely wasn't either, Mondo. How about you?
No, he superseded everything. And again, I hate to be repetitive, but I think a big deal has to be the head man. I mean,
Coach is correct. And
go ahead.
No. And speaking of coaching, I was going to say, because you brought that up, is how do we feel about signing both of the lead assistants, the coordinators, to longer-term contracts? Was that shocking?
I love it.
No.
I know some people have some pushback about Dawson and whatnot, but I've already said my hot take on it that I think Mensah fits Dawson's offense more than what Dawson likes to do. I think that's going to be evident this year. But I mean, what Corey Heatherman did last year is just a complete turnaround of Miami's defense in one offseason. And then if we really want to be truthful here and honest, Miami's defense, for the most part, was like a big backbone of that team last year. Like, yes, you had Malachi Tony, you had Mark Fletcher and everything, but for the large majority of the season, it was that defense.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So, and hopefully we can see 2 years in a row. We know teams don't always follow through the next year, but if we can see another solid year, and these guys did sign, how long did they each sign out? I didn't catch that part.
In terms of the extension,
Mm-hmm.
I know there's like a couple years added on and already onto what they had. Hold on. Let me get the exact detail because I have the press release that they gave us.
And is it just as easier for them to move on now, or is it more difficult if they have an opportunity for a head coaching job? Or is that the only way they can move on?
What happens with that is then buyouts come into place and everything. I want to get the exact number here because I don't want to tell you guys wrong. Dawson extension. Trying to find it here in my email. Hold on.
The Canes are now down to 60 to 1 to win the championship in basketball. I think they were much higher before. So they're 60 to 1 to win the championship, which is the lowest odds I've seen for a Hurricane basketball team in a long time.
Yeah, that'll be in there for you by midnight. That's for sure.
I think I've already got maxed out on that for some reason.
I think Hard Rock replied to you, "Hey, knock it off, pal. That's enough."
Exactly. So it's
no. While Gio looks for that, to your point, to your question about obviously, I mean, goes without saying a continuity, but it tells me that they're happy with the way things are going with the program, with the way Mario's running things, with the program is being run, and because they could easily, I'm pretty sure, especially Heatherman, like we talked about last year, before this past season with Minnesota, he turned Minnesota in 1 year from like I don't know how many exponent to like the top 10 points allowed in the nation. So he is that much of a. You saw with us, we were like historically bad to like one of the best. We went into Texas A&M and gave up a field goal, like in a do or die season-ending game. So
great point. Shut down Ohio State. I mean, outside of Jeremiah Smith, we dominated the game. Nobody really did anything. So that defense was phenomenal, and they were getting better as the year went on.
Oh yeah,
you got that, Gio? If not, we can pass on it.
Gio still going through his emails.
I was looking through the emails and everything. It wasn't any specific designation of how many extra years. They just worded it as multi-year. But along with that comes pay raises as well. And rightfully so because of how far Miami went.
I'm glad to see we're taking care of the guys. That's so important. Because they're seeing the players get paid. And the coaches, it's hard when these kids are making more than the coaches. You got to have a special player, I think, a special kid that wants to learn and wants to get better. But a lot of times you've got somebody if you've got an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old kid making more money than the coaches, not Mario. If it's more money than Mario, then we're all in trouble. But, making more money than the coordinators is a little bit of a problem because, you know what? They have to be able to, have it within. Because if not, a lot of times people, you would go by respect of who makes more money. In the NFL, obviously, the players are making more money than the coaches. It's a different world. But when you start having that with young kids, that's a problem I can see in separating great talent, which you won't only need great talent, but you're going to need that inner drive. And that's a difficult thing because once people get money, you lose that inner drive a lot of times. I mean, it's very difficult when you're set for life or have millions of dollars to really want to go out there and be the best.
Yep.
So, remember, we're sponsored by CanesWear. Remember, please, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe to CanesWear TV channel. Lots of great things. We've got the CanesWear podcast on 2 nights a week, maybe 3. We've got Who Wants to Smoke. We're going to be starting with Gio and Amon. We've got a new show starting, Benny and the Boys, coming up soon, which is going to be an awesome show. We're talking to some other people. Any of their ideas, anybody want to see anything else, feel free. This is your channel. This is your show. We're doing lots of fun things on there. So I look forward to you guys liking, subscribing, CanesWear, download our app, and you can see Mondo twice a week, Gio twice a week, and you can even put up with me sometimes.
Yep. So
Sorry, Gio.
Last thing I'll mention on the docket, because I always make sure we have like 3 main talking points every time we come on. So in terms of commitments, I'm sure Miami fans have seen the run of commitments Miami has had recently. Don't expect that to stop anytime soon. I kind of hinted at that the last time that we were on last week on Thursday. Here's the thing. So I know the Tyler Ford commitment kind of came out of left field. That wasn't exactly on any Miami fans' radar up until about a day or two beforehand. But he came down on his unofficial visit to Miami the week prior. The coaches absolutely loved what they saw. And when they spoke with him and everything, he was well beyond what they were even expecting. So they kind of took them aback, a little surprising for them. The focus for the offensive line moving forward after they landed Tyler Ford, and they also landed Sean Tatum, local 4-star interior lineman as well from the Fort Pierce area. And they already have Zaquan Linton in the class too. The 2 guys they're focused on right now is obviously Mark Matthews, 5-star tackle right in the backyard at St. Thomas Aquinas, and 4-star interior offensive lineman Jatori Williams from the state of Alabama, who also happens to be the cousin of Dalen Upshaw, who was a freshman receiver last year with Miami. He's coming into his 2nd year now. But those are the 2 names to kind of highlight going forward offensive line. There's other names involved like Reed Ramsey and other offensive linemen, but those are the 2 that Miami wants to add to the class. If they can get those 2, they're pretty much done from what I understand. So Mario Cristobal keeps on loading up with what he likes to call large human beings. And the other thing I'll say too, because I know maybe some fans would jump out and say, oh, well, this guy's a 3-star or that or whatever. It doesn't matter. Offensive line is one of those positions that you have to have the eye for being able to see ahead, what you can project that guy to be 2 to 3 years down the line with some strength and conditioning and your coaching in-house. Because, again, I want to remind people, if you saw Markel Bell when he first got here to Miami, a lot of the reactions just even within the media were like, man, when is this guy going to play? Because he was really raw, needed to reshape his body much more. And he's going to be an NFL draft pick next week. So I think it's a testament to the coaching that's in that building and the evaluation skills as well to find these type of guys, the footwork skills they're looking for, the size and everything. And they even landed a JUCO offensive tackle the other week as well in Jacob Hawks, who we've talked about before as well, a 6'9" offensive tackle. I know when people hear 6'9", they're I'm automatically thinking Markel Bell all over again. That's kind of Miami's idea here too. But the thing that's interesting with Jacob Hawks, he arrives this summer. So he's not a 2027 guy. He's a 2026. He has 4 years to play 3 seasons. So what that means is he has a red shirt still available. So they can have however much development time they want to have with this guy. I think it's a beauty. I think it's a great scenario. The new 105-man roster limit that college football has implemented, and it works so well for Miami, even from an offensive line standpoint, because that's one of those positions where you kind of stash some guys and maybe you don't hear a lot about them for a year or 2 years. Look, like Samson Okunlola and how they developed him. You stash them, you develop them, you build them up through the strength and conditioning program, and then you got a really good player on your hands. So, yeah, I know people had pushback about, what happens with walk-ons and everything. Teams still have players that are walk-ons that join the team and whatnot, but I just think for Miami, with what Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal like to do up front, it's the perfect marriage for them, having those extra roster slots, especially when you find guys like that. So last thing about recruiting wise as well, I'm sure everyone's seen that Myson Johnson Cook is going to announce a commitment on April 25th. Yes, I know some people are concerned that apparently he's going to possibly take a visit to Kentucky before his decision. Everyone expects it to be Miami. I've had a pick in since, I think it's like almost 2 weeks ago, in favor of Miami when he visited for the pool for their pool bash or whatever. I think that was like April 6th or something. I got to look back in the calendar, but yeah, I logged in a pick that morning when he arrived. I've continuously heard good things on that end. Now, obviously, Miami's got to get across the finish line. He's apparently going to announce on the Pat McAfee show too. So definitely a nice crossover there for Mario Cristobal and just national publicity for the program itself. You had Israel Abrams announce on there. Now you're going to have Myson Johnson Cook announce on there. I also think, just the timing of it and everything's interesting, being 3 o'clock, relating to 3:05 for the announcement as well. So all the little extra intricate details that they put into all these things. But yes, he should be one of the next guys to commit to the class, barring any last wrench thrown into the situation. And I've mentioned Andre Hippolyte plenty enough. I know people are wondering, when's this guy going to commit? We've been hearing about it forever. I do think there's still a good chance that happens soon for the local safety from North Miami Beach. The other guy, Nash Johnson III, who's going to visit this week and just recently decommitted from Alabama last week. He'll be on campus this weekend. That's been the expectation. Miami's definitely one of the programs to watch for him. They've been super high on him for some time now. Definitely one of the faster cornerbacks in the country for this entire recruiting cycle. And I also want to mention 2 last things as well. In terms of backtracking to the offensive line, there is a chance that Mark Matthews could commit earlier than the summer. We'll see if it happens. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I'll say this much. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to defensive back and what they're doing. But I do think a name to watch a little more closely that I got on some buzz on in the past 2 days while I've been out, Junior James, safety from the Alabama area. He's about 6'3", visited Miami about, I think it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Been hearing a lot of positive buzz between him and Miami. And I don't think it hurts at all that he's also played with Raw Miami, the 7-on-7 program, who's everyone knows they're very much pro Miami for the Hurricanes, for the local team. So we'll see.
All right. A lot of exciting stuff. Mon, do you have anything to add before we go to some questions and comments?
No, well, obviously by Gio saying he's going to announce on the McAfee show, that's like a red alert, whoa, okay. So is this going to be like a tradition now every time a kid comes in?
Yeah, we hope so.
I'll be honest.
It scares me a little bit.
I'll be honest. I think Miami could have quite a few commits between now and through official visit season being towards the end of May, beginning there.
Mhm.
I don't want to put like down a whole prediction like, oh yeah, there's going to be one every week or anything like that. But I do know they strategically plan these things. They absolutely do. They don't want kids, like multiple kids announcing the same day and whatnot. They try to avoid that. They like to have all these kids have their own moment. But I do think there's definitely going to be a run of commits from now through like that end of May, early June. There's going to be some guys and maybe a couple more in July because some guys like to announce, 4th of July, like right around there every year.
No, it's really remarkable because I can remember like a year ago around this time we were talking about how and when would we get like kids to come here and stuff, and now we're pretty much a talk of the college football world. And I'm not even trying to be like hyperbole or over the top. I think they are, or Miami is, because you go on X and every big time college football person and media like Gio, everybody's talking about Miami. Everybody, people that have no ties to Miami whatsoever, are bringing up Mario and the staff and their exciting brand of football. And I just saw a little while ago some FSU players dancing, and the guys were like, if they did that at Miami, they'd be gone the next practice. They wouldn't even be on the team the next day. But yeah, Cook, and I know you talked about you heard guys like I know Joe I think drove up today from Carolina. Steve Kim flew up from California for a spring game today. So, and Steve Kim's opinion means a lot to me because he's like the most knowledgeable. Him and probably John Michaels, like all-time UM fans I know personally. He texted with me today about Cantwell in person because he was there on campus today, and I was like, Steve, tell me. He's like, he looks like an NFL left tackle today. And I'm like, for real? He's like, when you see him Saturday, because I'm going on Saturday. When you see him Saturday, come and talk to me. He looks like an NFL left tackle fucking right now. He's that, and I'm like, wow, like damn, for real. And it's not talking about in the old days it was Mount McKinney and somebody posted the other day about our running back room in the past of Portis and Gore, and that's what it's getting to right now. We're loading up. It's scary, man. And like, it's not going to stop either. It seems like every kid that has their top 3, top 5, top 7, you see that U logo on there, whether they pick us or not. At worst, they're getting in the dance in the discussion at least. So
and Miami's being very selective right now too. There's some guys they're electing to not recruit certain kids specifically for like how they feel about like fit into the roster. Do they match the energy here? Like, will they work out at this program? I think there's some exceptions that this coaching staff made years ago that they don't now. They don't now because of where the program has reached.
Yeah, I remember before last season, NFL. You probably know who he is, Gio. What's his name? Brian Baldinger, NFL Network. Yes. He was there at several practices. I think you even mentioned it on here. Several practices watching, and he's like, "This looks like an NFL practice. It looks like." And a lot of I've read in the last couple of days, a lot of people have been referring to that, saying this looks like an NFL program. It doesn't look like a college program. They just look their bodies. It's exciting times, man. It's what a difference one remarkable season makes. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Back-to-back 10 win. And this is, you're right. It's just amazing. Just the energy that builds. It's all about winning. It's all about winning. When you win, it snowballs, which is a great thing. Yeah. I saw that thing from Steve today on the, on X, and it talked about Cantwell and everything like that, and just how he is. And I can't imagine he's 18 years old.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I mean, 18 years old. Do they even? How is that even possible? So,
no, but how about that invaluable experience to come in at the end of last season and practice in front of a Mesidor coming at you and a Bain coming at you, and seeing that and having your team go for how big is that for that kid's future? That was awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, I'll tell you this, Mondo. Have you ever seen Jackson Cantwell's dad?
Maybe I see him Saturday. No, I have not. No.
He looks like he could play right now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, he's Olympian. He was an Olympian, so it makes sense.
Totally.
He looks like he could play. He could go give Mario and them a good 20-25 snaps.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Well, I saw Mario on TV at the UFC, and Mario was hyped. Mario was like, Mario was ready to go in the octagon. That was funny.
He's loving it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. UM is.
All right. So we're gonna swap over to some questions here before we finish.
All
up.
right. Questions and comments. Always love them. It's the best part of the show. So I'm sure we got regulars and new guys like always. So we're happy that everyone can join us.
Juan Manuel, as always, is the first one this time. So he said, "Welcome back. The boys are back in town with some ear candy. Everything from 2 assistants extended. So big at recruits and maybe and an A Bella Danger sighting possibly for the spring game. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't know."
Hey, Bella Danger.
Juan Manuel said, "Will, Brett, and Mondo, how are you? Has your week and weather been? Come on, show some excitement. Spring game is here, and we get to hearing on the radio WQAM like the 1950s.
What?
1950s. Juan
50s.
Manuel.
Damn.
Yes, it's exactly exciting times. We need to make more excitement going, and I just think the program is so exciting right now that it can overcome everybody around it.
Howard Stern shared, "Let's go Canes. Gio, is it me or is Texas A&M becoming Miami's #1 pain in the ass in recruiting?" Yeah, it's not just you. Yeah, they're trying to go after Nick Lanier. They're trying to go after Mark Matthews.
Wow.
They're also trying to go after. Well, they just landed Jaden Upshaw, the other cousin of Dalen Upshaw, who Miami was going after too. They're also trying to pursue Caden Henderson as well. So yeah, it's not just a coincidence. You're definitely noticing it. I also do know that Texas A&M is throwing around a lot of money right now in recruiting. Like they're like doubling down right now. So Miami's going to definitely be competitive in some of these recruitments. There's going to be some that, they're going to make the choice like the juice may not be worth the squeeze, putting out that much for a certain prospect, and they may go another direction, which they did in terms of receiver. So main point of it, though, Miami will be competitive, absolutely competitive for Caden Henderson, Nick Lanier, and Mark Matthews, especially with Texas A&M going head-to-head with them for those guys. They already have Nick Lanier in the class, but just because you have a kid committed, as everyone knows, it's not over till pen hits paper, and sometimes not even pen hits paper till they're on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Juan Manuel. Gio, how is the health and mental health of the team? There's a reason I asked because they are dealing with life too. Hope to see late Hayden Lowe for spring it. So yeah, in terms of health wise, pretty fine. Nothing like major in terms of like long term. Yeah, some guys are banged up. I can't go into detail. If people have read through the tea leaves, if certain names haven't been mentioned or whatever, you can probably figure it out if you've been listening to me. But I'm not going to go into detail on names, though. However, mental health wise, that's something I haven't asked about. But like, if you mean like how the team is mentally, they're absolutely focused on the mission. Like they know that like just getting there to the national title is not enough. Like it's about winning the whole thing. That's the attitude going on in the building right now. And you see it. Even the coaches have posted it. They've said positive anger, channeling it into positive anger. That's been their slogan this year. Let's see. Howard Stern, Zayden Gamble and Jaden Carey. Why is Miami treating them like Plan B kids? Huge mistake. So with Jaden Carey, yes, he is a legacy kid for Miami. However, Miami has several cornerbacks they've been looking at, whether it's West Coast, guys locally. They also have Amir Sears that's like literally right in their backyard at Columbus, a 5-star kid, #1 cornerback in the country, who it's not really a question anymore. It's a matter of when he reclassifies from 2028 to 2027. So that's also in the works there and everything. So it's hard to take everyone, especially when it's not going to be the largest class. Like I'm not anticipating Miami taking like over 30 kids this year. So you can't take everyone, like I said. And in terms of Zayden Gamble, they've still been recruiting him. He was on campus the other week, but yeah, they've had a couple of guys ahead of him at safety. You're not wrong on that.
Is Jaden Carey, is he Vernon Carey's son, another son?
No, that's It's another Carey that played for I think it's Marcus Carey. I think he
Okay.
was, yeah. Let's see. Juan Manuel, hey, it's Miss Hudson and Big Bill up here in Chapel Hill. Big Bill wants to know, did the NCAA punish for tampering, but not did the NCAA punish for tampering, but not Kiffin or Ole Miss? Those two would tamper with each other wise for a player. Oh, so yeah, there was quite a bit of tampering with Lane Kiffin and former players from Ole Miss and everything. Yeah. No, but no punishment. But it's funny because there was the punishment dished out today. What was it? It was Iowa. Mondo, who was it again? There was a coach who
Somebody mentioned something about Iowa. Yeah, I don't know the
yes.
specific details, but
they got slapped on the hand with something for tampering or. I mean, quite funny in itself that it's Iowa of all teams, and
exactly.
rather than an SEC team, it's like, yeah. When it's blatant and out there, yeah. Juan Manuel also mentioned here, Gio Brennan Mondo, why is Pringle so underutilized as a multi-purpose weapon? Running back, slot, wheel route, reverses, attacking linebackers like Leonard Conley. If he can't block, run and pass to him. Yeah, so here's the thing. I remember, again, I'm not going to compare Gerard Pringle to Chris Johnson, who used to be here. I think Gerard Pringle can definitely play more in between the tackles than Chris was able to. However, this is what happens. I'm not like mocking fans like when they say this, but it's not necessarily like a video game where you could just put a guy in. It's like, yeah, just run whatever play you want with him. Sometimes it comes from a schematic standpoint too, that when you put in a certain guy into the game, you're also limiting your offense to an extent of what you could run out there when that player is out there. So teams will start keying in on it and figuring out like, hey, if number 0 is in the game, they're going to do this, or they're probably going to do this. And it becomes kind of a guessing game and an easier guessing game for opposing defenses to figure out on a down by down basis if you try to do that. So I'll say this. I do think his role will be a little more expanded this year, but I am one of the people who's been pushing the Jordan Lyle train, and it's not for personal reasons. It's just
I was gonna say Gio's hyping him up. Gio's ready for Lyle.
Everything that's been shared to me. Yeah, I do think as long as Jordan Lyle stays healthy, we could see potentially what the type of impact he could have had last year if he didn't get hurt. But
don't you think somebody like Pringle, who went into the portal, he was the only of the 4 players. Obviously, Fletcher was coming back. Brown and Lyle obviously didn't go in the portal, but Pringle did, and then they spoke to him and he came out. So I know you don't give players guarantees or anything like that, but he had a sensational year last year. I think a lot of people, including myself, was upset that he wasn't carrying the ball more late in the season because he was a different. I mean, Mark played amazing, but they didn't get some chances. And it just seems a little strange that he wouldn't be a focus of the offense, considering how well he did as a freshman last year.
Well, here's the thing. It goes hand in hand with, like I said, if you put a player into the game that doesn't do a certain aspect up to the standard that you're expecting for that position, you're limiting yourself as a play caller as well. For example, like, I know he's improved this offseason. However, let's go back to last year. Let's say, all right, because he was pulled out of a game against Ohio State because of pass blocking. I think some people forget this, that happened along the way. Like I said, you get limited as a play caller if you bring in a player that maybe, they still need to improve at something. And you're like, oh, yeah, we could just run him every time he's in. That's what I'm talking about, that defenses will key in on that and they'll say, hey, when this guy's in the game, because he can't do this, they're going to do this. So you become, I guess the word I'm looking for is even more one-dimensional as an offense when you do that.
Well, absolutely. But if just like Juan Manuel says, on the wheel, he had that wheel. He showed the great hands. Brashard Smith is somebody that, I know he didn't want to play running, but he didn't want to play one position, he wanted to play the other. But he obviously he played phenomenal when he transferred at SMU. And he was phenomenal for us against Clemson and things like that. So I just hope, it's going to be hard to get four backs the ball all the time. Obviously,
Oh, absolutely.
We want them all to stay
Yeah.
healthy, and it is great to have insurance if somebody, but just change of pace. It'll be very interesting, and that's one of the reasons I'm happy I'm not a coach.
I will say though, the type of offense I expect Miami to have this year, and from the feedback I've gotten, I think it's going to go hand in hand with that committee approach. I think I've mentioned this before as well. ALA, like the 2024 season when they had Martinez and Fletcher and Lyle and Allen and even Chris Johnson got some reps in there. I think it's going to be a healthy share of like the load for the season. And obviously, as you get into the playoffs, you'll lean into more, like whether it's you lean onto Fletcher at times or you lean onto Lyle or Brown, Pringle, however it works out. But I do think it's going to be a committee approach the whole way through, though. They want to conserve some of these guys for those really big games down the stretch where they're really going to need them. Like you saw what Mark Fletcher did. Like they had some of that committee going on during the season. He got a little banged up, but they got him healthy in time for the playoffs. And look what he did when they leaned on him. So to me, I do agree with you, though, Brett, on that aspect, like in terms of the pass game. Yeah, I think that was an interesting wrinkle that Pringle definitely brings. But again, I go back to, and I've had former players tell me this, that you limit yourself as a play caller. For example, like let's say you're going to bring him in just for that. So already the other team knows, so he's going to be running route. He may be running a wheel.
You're keying on it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I'm sure teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia have had this problem for years. So we've had the problem. I mean, we had all those great backs at one time, wide receivers at one time. So these things always sort themselves out. It just didn't have in the old days where a guy's going to just transfer out of nowhere. We had Gore, we had McGahee, we had Portis, we had all those guys, James Jackson. It's like, okay, something happens. Rarely do you see a guy ever transfer. So just it'll all work itself out.
Yeah, it's a very long season. You're going to need possibly all of them. And to me, the X factor is going to be, Gio's guy, Lyle. Because obviously we know Fletcher's a senior, the playoff star and all that. He's going to get the brunt of the touches. But we know that position, it's very tough to last the whole season. So
by the way,
I
will say,
ask me who wants to make that shirt. Gio's guy.
I will say though, I don't know how much he's going to play this year, but Javian Mallory was definitely a good get for the program. He's impressed some people this spring as well. So they got a great situation on their hands. You definitely can't complain about that, about having too many running backs.
It's a long season, like you said. I mean, 12 games, plus if you play in the ACC championship game, and then there could be 3 playoff games, or even, or 4. I mean, you could play up to 17 games now.
There better not be no if playing the ACC championship game this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't no if.
Juan Manuel shared
like that.
There are a few players that I think will surprise in the fall with their development. 10 pounds each. Israel Briggs, Jontavius Wyman, Parrish. Who's Parrish?
The wide receiver.
The wide receiver. He's talking about Paris Campbell. Okay. Marquise Lightfoot and Cam Pruitt, 5 to 6 pounds expanded roles possible. Yeah, I think it would help for guys like Lightfoot and Pruitt. Briggs, possibly. Yeah, I've always been on record with this. I've said this since the beginning of spring that Israel Briggs definitely brings a different dynamic to that tight end room. That I think he's like that true, like he could be a flex tight end, kind of similar to even how they used Elijah Arroyo during his last year here when he was finally healthy. Or even you go back to David Njoku, who also was used as a flex tight end when he was here with Mark Richt. I just don't know necessarily if it's going to be this year for him, but the athletic traits, though, like he's just really agile, like the most out of that entire group. I think it really stands out. Jontavius Wyman has tremendous ball skills. It's absolutely more of a thing of like just getting the physical up to par. Mylan Paris, I think it's just a deep receiver room. I know it's more technical things like just, improving the route running and whatnot, more consistency of catching the ball as well. But he's definitely flashed a lot this spring too. So, maybe there'll be a couple games this year. People will see some things from him or a few games or however it shakes out. But I think that receiver room's highly competitive. So I don't know if I would jump on train with that one. But Lightfoot and Pruitt, I could jump on board with that. Mr. Hey said, hello. Thank you for stopping.
What up?
Hey.
Let's see. Rich Millennial. Good evening, gentlemen. Other than Josh Moore, which players have legitimately been the most improved since last year? I'm going to go with, like I said, Luke Nickel. And you already mentioned Josh Moore there, so I've been saying that for some time now. Also, most improved. Who else I'm going to go with here? Anyone else at receiver, I would say. No. I'm going to stick with the theme of just most improved, though, because there are guys that have improved, but I'm talking about big jumps.
We discussed Cantwell, Gio. Other than him, who else has popped out to you while you're watching there so far?
I would say someone who's surprised, definitely Ben Congdon.
Mm-hmm.
He has surprised. But on the theme of most improved guys, though, Herbert Scroggins, that's one right there. Armando Blunt, specifically him. He's improved a lot since last year.
I'm cheering for him. Armando, yeah.
Justin Scott has been very consistent throughout. Kamal Bonner, definitely a guy that's improved a lot. Maybe even Chase Smith. Yeah, Kamal Bonner and Chase Smith specifically come to mind. And defensive back-wise, I don't want to say Jabari Antoine because people kind of saw that at the end of the season. But, yeah, because mostly I gotta fixate on guys that are returning, not guys that were just added. So, you know what? I'll throw it in there. Zachariah Poyser, from people I've spoken with, he looks better this offseason than he even did during the season, even though I thought he was pretty good last year. One angry black man said, "Go Canes! Thank you for stopping by, my man."
Go Canes, BK.
Go Canes.
Mr. Hey said, "Call me Andy." Okay, I will call you Andy from now on, Mr. Hey. So Andy now.
Yeah, Andy man.
Rich Millennial, who would you put your chips on the table and bet the next commit will be? That's very tough. But I think it could come between Nash Johnson or Myson Johnson Cook. If you asked me today, maybe something changes. Jacoby Graggs said, "Go Canes." Thank you for always stopping by, Jacoby. He's always a regular. Oh no, Mr. Hey was joking. He said, "Call me Andy." That's what he said. That's what you always say.
No, I think he said, yeah. He said, no, I think it was, "We will start soon." That's what you always say.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's what that is. Yes, that was it.
Money Counter 305. Hey, Gio and Brett. I see Myson Johnson Cook is supposed to announce on the Pat McAfee show. If he does throw up the U, are we seeing a new trend set up by Mario? I do think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just Pat McAfee show does very well in terms of viewership. It's one of ESPN's most watched shows. Actually, I think it is the most watched show on their network right now. So,
do you think though he can do? I mean, don't you think other teams would be upset? Other schools would be upset if every time. I don't think it's hard to imagine that every time he has a commit, it's going to be Miami.
I'm pretty sure actually Pat McAfee's done commitments for other schools, so it's not necessarily just a Miami thing, but I think it's a great marketing tool.
I love it, especially when the coach gets on there, especially if it's 305. That's the thing that's scary. It's so perfect.
Yeah. Hassan shared here. I don't know why anyone would want to go to Texas A&M. All they have is wide open plains, cornfields with ugly cows and steers and men dressed as Boy Scouts for cheerleaders. The Aggie yell, yeah. Or they do their thing called the midnight yell. Hey, you know what? That's their tradition. It is what it is. One Manuel shared. Are we on Cuban time? Yeah, slightly today we were. Canes Jones. Good day, mates. Go Canes. Thank you for always stopping by.
Canes Jones.
Awesome. He went ahead and he put a video together for me Always a great guy. Does his spaces tomorrow night, I'm pretty sure, correct?
Yeah, he
got
does.
his
Yes.
spaces tomorrow night. Listen to that. So, Kane, a phenomenal person. Thank you so much, Kane Jones.
Thank you, bro.
Let's see here. Sergio J. Sanchez, real estate. I believe I've seen this guy before on X. He said, great times, or should we be nervous about Mark Matthews, Nick Lanier, and Johnson Cook all not picking Miami? I don't think so. At least not right now, this specific moment. I do think, like I said, Miami's going to be ultra competitive in the recruitment of Mark Matthews. It's not going to be a thing that boils down to like, oh, we don't want to pay that or anything. Mice and Johnson Cook, they've mostly been battling with Missouri for the longer part of everything. Kentucky trying to come into the mix now late or whatever. We'll see what happens. But I do expect him to end up picking Miami ultimately on the 25th. And Nick Lanier, there's no surprise about this. People around him have known this for some time. He loves Miami. Like, he's a legitimate, actual Miami fan. Like, he is like a fanatic about Miami. Again, even though you have him committed, you still got to fend off the other schools from now until December. So you still got a whole 8 months out you got to handle with these other programs that they'll probably try to entice with offers. There's schools that even try to offer money to kids to even take visits as well. That's an actual thing that happens. Whether legal or illegal or not, that's the whole other story. But you asked me right now, I've had picks in for all three of those guys. Lanier ended up at Miami. I've had the pick for Matthews for over a year now. I do expect him to end up at Miami, whether he decides to do it early now or he waits a little further into the summer. Both are possibilities. Johnson Cook, you asked me today, I think he ends up at Miami as well. So that's kind of just where it stands right now. And Robin Delatore, thank you for stopping by, Robin. I've known Robin for many years now. He said, what's up, gentlemen? Go Canes. Thank you for stopping by, Robin. Canes fan Rob.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
Shaboy Kane. Yo, Gio, you don't have to get into details. Just answer this. Do you expect Hayden Lowe to be with us for the season? All right. So thank you for saying I don't have to get into details because, yes, that's true. I can't go into the details. Yes, I'm aware of like the off-field stuff or personal stuff. However, I will say this. I do think maybe there's a little bit of fear-mongering or overreaction right now because, it was brought up again to Mario today. The last thing I heard on it before the press conference today was that, something happened and whatnot and everything, that he would be fine. And that was that. I didn't hear anything further beyond that. Now, I know people have been sharing screenshots and group chats I'm in and everything, and they've been saying, oh, no, this guy's saying this and this guy's saying that and everything, whatever. I think this is one of those situations where fans, you need to let things settle and let it play out first rather than jumping to conclusion, because I've seen things posted by people on social media like, oh, he's in the doghouse, he's in this, he's in that. Just let it play out. Just let it play out. But I'm not ready to say that if he's going to stay or go. I don't know right now at this point. I'm being completely transparent here. I don't know if he's going to stay or go. I do know what happened. I do know what was said beforehand that like, things will be fine. It's not like something that's super long term. But again, things can change. They asked Mario today and, he said what he said. He said he's still dealing with personal things. We'll just leave it at that. No, leave it at that. You got to let the situation play itself out.
It's how many kids are on the roster right
now? Well, it's the 105 roster limit, but they're not entirely up to that right now. So last I checked, I know they're like in the high 90s for this year's roster right now.
I would say almost that Hayden Lowe gets more attention on our last several shows, on X, everywhere, than almost all the other players combined that actually are here and playing and into it. So these are young kids. Plenty of players have said they've had emotional issues for whatever reason. Or I'm not even saying what it is. I have no idea. But there's plenty of reasons why something may not work out somewhere. And it just happens sometimes. It happens in every form of life. It happens with people that are adults at jobs. It happens everywhere. But people and there's nothing wrong with asking about players, but everybody is so ultra focused on the one guy that we have an issue. Last year with JoJo Trader, is it going to be okay? Everybody was talking about JoJo. And then the year comes and it's like, okay, JoJo's not even that important to the team, unfortunately. It's like, oh, what are we going to do without JoJo? What are we going to do without JoJo? Wait, look at this. We got Malachi. We got Daniels. We got this. So everybody's worried about Hayden Lowe. And hopefully whatever he gets taken care of. But we're focusing on the guy that's not playing more than the people that are playing, if that makes any sense.
No, you put up a great point, Brett. He hasn't practiced since the first week. It was the first few practices and everything. So, it is what it is. Fans got to focus on the guys that are involved right now. I get it. It's a lot of potential that Lowe has, but just got to let the situation play out. I also do think there's a little bit of fear mongering going on right now because nothing has actually happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Blue Green Street, thank you for stopping by. He said, flying down Saturday morning for a spring game. Can't wait. Ooh, you got a busy Saturday morning.
I was going to say, you better be flying like at 1 a.m., my friend.
Exactly. Where's he flying from? Blue Green
Well, I think he's flying into the Opelika private airport in the private jet. Is where he's
B Rabbit shared here. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for stopping by.
B Rabbit.
Hassan, Brett, are you going to make a shirt with what Santana Moss said? Big time players make big time plays in big time games.
I would love to make that shirt. So I don't know if Santana will be part of it or just the saying, but I would love to make that shirt. I think that would be an awesome shirt. I will definitely. We talked about that a couple of times. I've always loved that saying, but yes, Mr. Hey, are you close with Santana? Sorry. Go on.
One angry black man said, to be honest, I think Darion Coleman beats Luke Nickel for the starting job next year.
Interesting.
I mean, it's so far out. However, I'll say, for the people that may be freaking out, like when I say like, oh, like Luke Nichols improved a lot from last year. I've said on record, I've been on here on record saying that Darion Coleman's arm talent specifically, extremely impressive. You could see it in the videos that have been shared and everything. It's definitely very impressive. Who's to say that Darion Coleman doesn't take a big step going into next year, that he doesn't have a jump similar to like how much Luke Nichols improved? Because I was really critical of Luke Nichols since last year. I said like, yeah, he's got a gunslinger like type of ability and he can move a bit, but I said my biggest concern was the turnovers. Like he was turning over the ball a lot last year around this time and even going into fall camp last year. But he's cut that down. He's improved in some way. So like we've always said on this show, everyone has different developmental stages, especially in the game of football. So I still think it's too early to say like which of those guys win or whatever the case may be. But I do think the competition overall is going to be very interesting next year. I mean, if you have Luke Nickel return, which would be expected, because he'll get a crack at competing for the starting job, Darion Coleman, and, you bring in a guy like Israel Abrams. Hey, who's to say, what if Miami goes transfer guy again? If they don't feel like there's a guy yet there that's ready to step up to the mantle, you don't know. I mean, I don't expect them to because it gets very difficult year in, year out to do that, to continuously grabbing a guy every year. I do think next year there's definitely a chance they may just go in-house. I know I've heard some good positive returns about like the thought process on the crop of quarterbacks right now, and then bringing in Abrams to compete with that too. But we'll see. It's so far out. So much can change in a year from now just simply because of the portal.
Now, I have to say, Gio, you said last year, right at the beginning of the season, before the season started, the Miami Hurricanes will bring in another quarterback to be the guy. You said that right away. Yeah. So when Gio said that, a lot of people thought, well, we're going to go one of the guys we got. We got Coleman. We got next year's coming in. We got Nickel. And Gio was 100% right. I'm not just saying to blow smoke at Gio. Now, Gio, you're saying for next year, okay, we're going to go in-house. So I have no doubt that I believe
I think there's a higher.
You called it last year, and you called so that's an amazing turnaround for the team because it's been for so long. I mean, unless Darren Manson says, "Hey, I want to come back," that's a whole nother story too. But if he has the kind of year we hope he has, hopefully it's going to be top 5 draft pick.
Yeah, no. So, like, even in terms of the approach with the portal too, Miami's a big believer on like the guys they've brought in, like in-house, just overall through the roster. Like they're still going to use the portal. You know, they're not going to ignore it. It's there. They've used it. They're still going to use it going forward, but it's going to be very selective. Like it was very selective even coming into this offseason too. It wasn't like previous years where they grabbed several of these guys. It's going to be much more selective going forward. Like, you know, can we improve our roster in a specific way here or there, but not necessarily that we got to take a rack of guys off the shelf from the portal and bring them in for a specific spot. You know, they're really happy with the progress of where the roster has gone year over year. So I think that's going to be one of the changes fans are going to see, is that it's not going to be these large portal classes anymore. It's going to be much more selective.
That's going to be. I hate to skip past this season, but that is going to be very interesting next season. As if we have what's expected, another deep playoff run, and obviously, like Brett just alluded to, more likely than not, that Mensa would be gone. I mean, what quarterback that's going to be back next season that's elsewhere wouldn't look to Miami? We've seen it now, 3 years in a row. Yeah. So, and again, I've been hearing Coleman's name for 2, 3, 4 years now. But if there's a 3,000 or 4,000 yard quarterback out there that's knocking on your door and has proven he can start and be a star somewhere else, how do you not even visit that or have that discussion with the kid? You've done it 3 years in a row now. So I'm really curious when this time around next year. And I agree with Gio. There's more of an opportunity another year with Nickel in the system and Coleman. But if there's nobody mentioned who knew Mensa was going to be available to us? Exactly. Nobody knew that. So. Sure, if I was a betting man, and I might be, Brett, I would venture to say that it's going to be a kid that's not here right now, but you never know.
I think eventually they have to. I think Gio is right in a way because they have to eventually go to some of the kids they bring in. If they don't, nobody's going to want to come here.
Well, it has to do with their internal valuation of where they see stacking it up to the rest of the country.
Right.
And I think those practices that go on week by week this year during the season and into the playoffs of Miami, I mean, God willing, you hope that Miami goes into the postseason again. That kind of where the progress is with that position, especially with the young guys. And then you bring in Abrams as an early enrollee as well. I think they're kind of going to gauge it from there. Like, okay, like can the room be up to par with a lot of these other rooms around the country, or do we need to bring in another guy again? Because I know some people were freaking out even after this past season ended, that people were like, oh my God, Emery's going to be our guy. Like, I literally said it again. I'm like, no, Miami's taking transfer quarterback.
Yeah, and I'll say it like this: if we don't get Carson Beck last year, how does last season go? You tell me.
Yeah, well, there was still two other kind of sort of options. I can't go too far into detail.
No, I know. I'm just saying how the season played out. If we would have kept, I don't know who else was available, but I'm talking about if we would have started guys that we had.
Correct.
Are we sitting here right now, fresh off a national championship runner-up appearance? I'd venture to say no. So, I mean, I'm not breaking news at how vital the quarterback position is in football, but to me, it's. I would prefer, of course, as a fan, homegrown guy. He's been here 1, 2, 3 years. To me, that went out the window when you're paying guys 2, 3, 5, 10 million a year. To me, is get the best person, the best player, period. And if feelings get hurt, it is what it is. Mario has to win. We want to see the team win. And if Coleman, if there's somebody better than Coleman that you know is better than Coleman, you're going to put that kid to play over Coleman or Nickel or whoever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Good point. And the kids do change from year to year. I remember we played in Texas against Joe Burrow and LSU. To me, I thought he was average at best. I thought he was the weak link to the team. We played LSU. The next year, he's possibly the greatest quarterback ever to play college football. So kids do progress. So you just never know. So it'll be interesting to see.
I would love to see one of these two kids step up next year. Don't get me wrong. I would love to, but it's a long way away. We'll see, man.
Yeah, it's whole year out. A lot could change.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. Our program flipped in 11 months, like night and day. So yeah, you never know.
Kuviche shared here. Lyle is going to be on redemption tour. I agree with you, my man.
Kubice.
Yeah, let's
Good
see.
guy.
Sigmund 4972. Why is there less talk about Hellcat? I don't think it's necessarily that there's like less talk about him. It's more so like the top 4 guys have been kind of entrenched within that running back room, and it's hard to like kind of break through that right now.
Brett, I just had an image of Gio like in the press box or in the field next year when Lyle's doing good, like in the movie Major League, when the general manager's like pumping his fist and the owner lady's like, "Knock it off, Charlie." You know, Gio's gonna be cheering for Lyle like crazy out there. Oh, that's gonna be great.
Ulysses Perez 9043. Gio questioning Mensa. LMAO. Stop. I never questioned him.
I didn't hear that.
I've been propping him up.
I didn't hear
I've been saying that I think he has a better deep ball than Cam Ward did.
Is that my boy Uli? That's not my boy Uli, is it? Oh, come on, Uli.
No, I'm not questioning Mensa at all. I've been saying that. I think Miami's going to have really explosive.
You're big on the Mensa train.
Mullet TV. Duck is here, everybody. Duck.
There you go.
All right, Duck is in the house.
Duck, you know what? I think this offensive line group may be better at running the ball, like the run game, actually. Wow. So I think you might like to hear that.
Run the football.
Bleed orange and green. Go Canes.
Oh, he's a good dude. I met him. He's a good guy.
Blue Green Street. What's the? We already talked about the Hayden Lowe thing. Hassan. Idiot Gator fans get a couple of recruits and think they're back. And they think their coach is second coming of Nick Saban. Those morons should go back to their trailer and remove their shorts. Look, like I said before, naturally, Florida is going to get some recruits this year. They are, because when you bring in a new coach at a program, especially like a program like Florida, you're going to get that first year recruiting bump. It naturally happens. But what happens is you can't continue to sell the dream without the results. Like, there's some time in the beginning and everything, you kind of get the benefit of the doubt. And then you have to produce and results have to come in for kids to continue buying in, because kids are not going to buy in if the program is not progressing. So that's kind of, you look at what happened with Napier as well. Yeah. Kids stop buying in. Like they saw, like, no, the program is not progressing. They're regressing. So yeah. Albert McKinney said, okay. Money Counter 305. Hey Gio, with all the rumors going around about cornerback coach, I was wondering, would we take Dante Wright and Amir Sears, or would that be a one or the other? They would take both. But we got to see how that whole situation transpires. I'm sure there's going to be some type of resolution within the next couple weeks in terms of cornerback coach thing and whatnot. If Jefferson ends up ultimately getting the job, or Miami gets Wadud from Oregon or not, no one really knows at this point. Like, yeah, Mario wants the guy, but you've gone through a whole spring and everything, and he's not the guy. Hasn't budged yet on that. And I know Oregon has been going through their spring practice too, but usually you want those things to be done pre-spring and whatnot. Like I said, though, that's another one of those situations. You just got to let it play out. You got to let it play out, because no one knows yet if he is or not going to come here. And not only that, aside from that, there are literal recruits. There are recruits that Miami's been going after that their coaches, local coaches, have said that Jefferson's been the guy. Like they have assumed like he's going to be the cornerbacks coach. Whether that takes place or not, we'll see. Let's see. Papa Cool 391. He said, "Do you think Hussey is in the rotation?" Absolutely. Conrad Hussey is a good player. He is a good player. I think definitely he got a a little bit of a bad rap for, how things ended at Florida State. And then he went to Oregon State, just played a couple games there and then sat out the rest of the year. But it's been more so like of a prove it type of deal for him since he got to Miami. Like, I'll share this with you guys, unless, people have seen it from the pictures or whatnot, but he hasn't been wearing a number all spring, actually. He just has an orange jersey with no number. So he's just been kind of proving it since he's arrived here and everything's gone very well so far. Hey, Andy said, who owns a pony?
Who owns a pony? Who leaves a pony country to come to a country without ponies?
Kuiche, great seeing you, fellas. Thank you, as always, Kuiche. Albert McKinney, is the Henderson kid going to commit? I've been hearing about him and Matthews for months now. I don't expect anytime soon for Caden Henderson. More so for like the summer. One angry black man. I need that Mario shirt, Brett.
Absolutely. That is an awesome shirt. Now, that shirt is online. It's a fantastic shirt. Phenomenal. I think Back Apparel did a great job with that. They said, we're going to do one for so-and-so. We're going to do one for different teams. And I said, we have to have a Mario Army shirt. Mario's Army. Awesome. Great call.
Gio, Brett, and Mondo. I think Kellen Wiley, 6'4", 235, will transition to pass rushing plus edge rusher this fall. His talent is obvious, but he will be 250 pounds, above 250 one day. That's not a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the pass rushing ability. That's been on his tape since he played at Armwood, and he was at Tampa Hillsborough before playing at Armwood as well. I know he's still at linebacker, though, like as of right now. So until like a move like that actually happens, I don't want to exactly entertain it. But yeah. Kuvic says smash the like button. Yes, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, youtube.com.
Yes, please subscribe to our brand new channel. Lots of good shows, not just the CanesWear podcast. We got Who Wants to Smoke with our very own Gio, and I'm on Richards. We got Benny and the Boys coming, and lots of other shows as well. So we're really excited about the new YouTube channel. It's the only place you can see Mondo.
B-Rabbit, any advice on being a twin dad, Mondo?
Oh,
bro. Well, the very first thing you got to do is download the Dunkin' app because you're gonna drink a whole ton of damn coffee. No, it's well, well, my oldest is 14, so we tried for just real quick, not to hijack the show, but tried for years to have number 2, didn't happen. So imagine me and the wifey shocked when the doc says you got number 2, and then he paused. 2 and 3, we're like, what the what? So it's honestly, it doesn't feel like. That's why sometimes even coming on here, you notice I'm a little late sometimes. There's not sometimes enough minutes in the day, put it through that way, between work and her taking them to school, picking them up. And honestly, she's here also. My mother-in-law's a godsend. Without her, I don't know what the hell we do, to be honest with you. So it's all hands on deck. It's a 24/7 thing. It's tough. It's not easy. I'm not going to bullshit you and say it's easy. But you do what you do as a dad and as a mom, and you get through it, and it's all good. I'm taking my daughter to the game on Saturday. She's 6 years old. She likes going to the games. We'll see how it goes. So it should be fun Saturday.
Yeah, she's Mondo's daughter is a big time Canes fan.
She is. She even throws up the one-handed you.
Yeah. No, we went to the game one of the games this year, and there was some guy next to us, always sits by us. She ate the whole damn box of popcorn to the guy. He's like, yo, what the hell? So yeah, it's a trip. It's cool, man. It's all good.
Howard Stern, Brett, please get the least support. Oh my God. Howard Stern. I heard Ryan Rodriguez is the weak link in the offensive line. Not necessarily, no. I think he's going to help Miami a lot in terms of the run game this year. I think especially between the tackles is definitely going to help out. Geo Kane 75. Over the history of Miami, great teams, it was their defense. You're absolutely right.
Great point. Yeah, Miami's defense. I think a lot of people talk about the offense, but the defense has been always, great teams have great offenses and great defenses, but we've had some dominating defenses.
So Papa Cool shared here. Gio, did you watch the tape of the JUCO tackle? He can move. So he's talking about Jacob Hawks. Yes, a 6'9" kid can absolutely move. I will say, though, I don't think it's going to be one of those things that, like, he's ready out the gate. I think obviously there's going to have to be some seasoning there, a little bit of coaching as well. But what a beauty in it that he has 4 years to play 3 seasons. It's incredible. Incredible. But Howard Stern, I got to give Mario credit. When he took over this team, it looked like a Pakistani woman. Now it looks like a dime piece Brazilian or Colombian woman. Well, Howard Stern, I'll be honest. There are Pakistani women that are actually like really beautiful. Like it's just it all depends, man. I mean, I'm not going to discriminate or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, my wife is Latina, that's me, but there are beautiful Pakistani women as well.
But I will say that Howard Stern was not a Mario fan last year at all.
Oh, no.
At all. There was nobody he's the biggest turnaround.
No, I think after the SMU loss, Howard Stern almost went ballistic.
Thank Howie and Hassan to keep us calm. And tell us everything will be okay. And he was 100% right.
Let's see. Ralph 3986. I hear that the top recruits right now is not as solid as we thought. No, there's not really any concerns. I mean, in terms of like teams still trying to push for Nick Lanier to take visits, that's not really a surprise.
The only reason somebody won't want to come here is if somebody throws the biggest bag at them, I think. If someone drives up an armored car, which a lot of these schools have because there's money from everywhere, if someone from Texas A&M, we're not going to compete with that kind of money. Those oil guys can give they obviously there's unlimited money.
What, like the kid from the rugby player that went to South Carolina, was it? Yeah. He came down here, spoke here, but then ended up going up there. So who knows how much they gave him to go there?
Exactly.
That
a lot of that had to do with just how much they were trying to give him and everything. Yeah, it was just crazy.
Could imagine.
Porch Kane, Israel Abrams is now a 5-star. Yep, I saw that. Saw that come out today. Actually, that ESPN finally moved up his ranking, and he's a consensus like 5-star according to the composite now. So Miami has 2 5-stars in their class.
Weren't they trying to call him? Was like the third. He was third ranked, right? And then they were trying to call him a 3-star. Some people. Or is it always a 4-star? Because I thought
it's technically a 4-star depending on what site you looked at. But look, Miami's got 2 5-stars right now. Someone asked the question on this show months ago, like, hey, how many 5-stars do you think Miami can get? I set the line that I think Miami could get 4 at minimum. They're at 2 right now, and they're in the game with plenty, so we'll see. Bleed Orange Green box office boys. Yep. Miami is absolutely for the box office. Miami's a polarizing program. Whether they win or lose, people love to talk about Miami. Temula Watkins Institute shared here. Brett is doing too much pocket watching lately regarding the players getting paid and how much. Not a good look, Brett.
I want to say no. So just to clarify, I love the kids getting money. I love them getting money. Okay, I just say it's very difficult. Just like I love NBA players or NFL players, it's very difficult for an 18 or 19-year-old person. It's very good for anybody. Look throughout history. People win the lottery and their lives are not the same. They have no more. It's very difficult for people, anybody in any walk of life, to get a lot of money and then go ahead and have that same drive. It's going to take great players to do that. You need to want it, because let's face it, people want to be great in anything because they want to earn money. They want to get money. All right. You hit the lottery, something. I mean, there's been plenty of first-round busts that have never amounted to anything because they just get paid so much money. So I love the players making money. All right. So I don't want ever to be saying that I don't. I love them making money, but I just think they have to work twice as hard, because if you don't need to make money, it gets to be a little bit. You got to be a different kind of person.
Bleed Orange and Green with the U's up. Thank you. Hurricane Hicks 01. Is Miami in on Jimmy Callis? So you're talking about, I think it's like the lineman from Pennsylvania. He visited some weeks ago, but I don't expect that to be a direction that Miami will go in. And mostly that has to do with that they really liked what they saw with Tyler Ford. They made the decision that, you know what, we're going to take him. He initially wasn't even on like that type of radar for them before he took that visit recently. So they were kind of surprised. Again, I think fans should be excited about that too, that he blew them away on his visit for them to make that type of decision. Now, I think that also entails too that with Ford taking the spot into the class, a guy like Joshua Sam Appel, who Miami's been looking at for some time, I don't think Miami's going to continue putting a lot of resources into that. Mostly the focus going forward to be like your Mark Matthews, Jatori Williams. I know they've still been in contact with Reed Ramsey. They've been looking at some other guys too. I forget his name now. I think it's Reese Russell, who they're also looking at too. But the two that they're mainly focused on right now, like I said earlier, Mark Matthews and Jatori Williams. Bleed Orange and Green said, how do you feel about the linebacker, Caden Henderson? I feel good about Miami's chances. I'm not ready to say that I think Miami lands him. I think there's definitely still some runway in that recruitment. He obviously battling with Texas A&M. I know Florida and Florida State, they've been trying to vie to get back in his top group. I think it's going to be a little tough for them. Alabama's still in there. Georgia, I believe Ohio State's still in the mix too. But Miami's main competition right now mostly is Texas A&M for his services, though. Lido Kane, 305, thank you for stopping by. He said, Tyler Ford's tape is insane. My favorite commit so far. Trench, baby. Yeah, for a kid that's 6'6", over 300 pounds right now, he can move. You see it on the tape as well. Definitely a big clay mold that Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal can work with from scratch. So definitely some tools to work with, though. Daniel Castillo. No, you can't say details, but would you anticipate Hayden Lowe playing? So I already spoke about the Hayden Lowe thing earlier. Juan Manuel said, Cam Vaughn is underrated. Can he gain 10 pounds? Well, Cam Vaughn's got pretty decent size already for a receiver. He's about 6'2", 6'3" range. Just about almost like 200 pounds. I know 190 range as well. So I'm not sure how much more weight that he would be able to put on. Bleed Orange and Green, great problem to have. Running back room is stacked. Yes, it is. Daniel Castillo asks, is Damon Wilson the real deal? Yes. At least in terms of like as a pass rusher, yes. And the other thing, I think maybe it was a little overblown, like his ability as an edge setter or playing against the run. At least some feedback I've gotten from people that have seen the private portions, more of like the physical stuff, that he's definitely improved in that factor. Like that he's not a guy that, you know, because there's been some narratives put out there from especially like Missouri people or even Georgia. They try to say, oh, that he's lazy. He doesn't want to play against the run. Or whatever. That's not the case at all. Lion Kane 62. Gio, what are you hearing about the freshman defensive tackles development? I've heard a ton of great things on Logan Nagel. Kashawn Stansel flashes a lot from just like a pure explosiveness standpoint. He still has to get bigger, but I do think he's someone that could be a big-time player at Miami down the line as long as he continues with the path of development. But Hurricane Hicks asked here, how is Micah Newton looking? Bigger than last year. Will be somewhere there within the rotation. Just don't know how much he plays this year, but he's going to get some snaps this year. Let's see. Sigmund shared. Why is there less talk? I already spoke about the Hellcat thing. Albert McKinney. Texas A&M NIL is crazy. It's right up there with Miami and Texas. And Texas A&M promises kids playing time. That is true. There is some promises there, and just the amount that Texas A&M is throwing around. And some of this with Texas and A&M doing all that, this also comes into play with what Texas Tech has been doing. The reason why Texas A&M is trying to be even more competitive on the recruiting front as well.
So how can I promise? I understand in the short term, you can go ahead and promise people, but eventually, not everyone's going to get the play. They're not going to be as good as they think. They're not going to fit in as well. So, I mean, that starts going bad. I think that could really unravel that whole idea of promising playing time.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mondo, you're back. What's up, man?
I'm here and I had to step inside for a second, but I'm back.
Andy shared here. Put the all-time starting 11 on offense and defense. Let's do special teams. Oh, I think we may need a complete show to do
That
that.
would be a good show, though. You're right. That would be a good show. So.
After spring wraps up, that we're going to do that. We will do comparisons of who is everyone's all-time starting 11 offense, defense-wise, and everything.
That would be awesome. Everybody can come in with as many as they could. Great idea, Mr.
Kane
Hay.
Sam, Rob shared here. Johnson Cook is coming this weekend. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been watching my phone. I got it on Do Not Disturb right now, so I don't know if I got any texts or anything yet at this point. But, hey, if he is, even better, because I do expect him to end up at Miami. Renard Longton. Hey, Gio, how did the O-line perform at last weekend's scrimmage? Heard the D-line had the upper hand. Yeah, D-line definitely had the better of them in the previous scrimmage, but it's gone a little back and forth. The first scrimmage was a little different. O-line handled things with the first one, so it's good competition overall, though. Chris Brown, B7H. Gio, Johnson Cook, yeah, so you had mentioned that. Humble Rabbi, thank you for stopping by, as always. After taking the guard yesterday, did we still get the guard from Bama? Yeah, he is the focus right now, from what I've heard, that Torrey Williams and Mark Matthews for the offensive line going forward. Albert McKinney, what is he, homesick or something? Because that is a thing with some kids. He's talking about hating. It's not a homesick thing with Lowe. Let's see. Canes Jones said, the more of our head coach goes on these shows, the better it is for recruitment. It helped Mike Krzyzewski and Don Stanley and Nick Saban. Now we have to bring his exuberance down a bit. Maybe he could take Deion Sanders' spot since, well, we saw the video at Colorado. Yeah. Canes Jones brings up good points there. Andy said yes. Santana, yes. Howard Stern, is Shannon Dawson ready to take the big step as a big-time play caller? I still don't forget those F-ups he had in the playoff games. They scared against Indiana first set. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually a little bit with Howard Stern on this in terms of like some of the choices in that first half against Indiana. I agree, but also at the same time, from the view that I got watching it from the box during the national championship game, I think Miami's receivers, at least on the outside, they were struggling to get separation during that first half. I think it really condensed the field for Miami, made them maybe a little too one-dimensional in that first half, which made things a little more difficult on Dawson. But I am with you, though, Howard Stern, that I do think there could have been some other creative ways within that first half. However, I'm not one of the people that's completely out on Dawson. I like Shannon Dawson. I do think that Darian Mensah is a great fit for his offense as well. So I'm going to judge. I'll judge it again this season. I think he's been a good coordinator for Miami. I think he's been good. He has received head coaching offers that he's actually turned down. Like we've said, why would he want to leave from the Miami job until a big job opens up that wants him? There's no reason to.
How would you see, if you've mentioned Mensah is more of a quarterback for Shannon Dawson's system, like Cam Ward was versus Beck? How would you see the offense? Besides, obviously, Ward obviously had better scrambling ability. He had a different kind of vision of the field. What would you see the difference in the play calling where Ward versus Beck, and how that'll translate to Mensah?
I think you're going to see more deep shots this year. I think you're going to see more of the intermediate routes as well. Maybe a little less of the screen game. Maybe just not maybe. I'm not going to even say maybe. Actually, no on this. They're going to be more vertical this year. They're definitely going to get more vertical with the offense, things that you kind of saw with the offense when Cam Ward was in place. The other thing as well, I think the formations, based off what I've been told, less condensed this year. Things were more tight, more bunch last year. I think you're going to see less of that this year. Not saying it's going to go away for the people that hate that stuff. I don't hate that type of offense. I like the diversity and everything, but more spread out this year. It absolutely is going to be more spread out this year.
Like against Florida State? Beck had an amazing game. I've not seen a guy throw long balls better than he threw that game. Then obviously he came into was it the not the SMU game? I think it was the game that
Louisville.
Louisville. He was just missing. So Florida State was perfect. So you think that's good where we're going to see more long ball shots like we saw against Florida State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Howard Stern also said, do you guys remember when Mario Cristobal laid out Mark D'Onofrio in the Penn State game? Small world, our Al Golden also played in that game. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Jose Gonzalez, talking about QBs, I can't wait to see Abrams wearing the green and orange. Yep. He's the highest ranked quarterback Miami's landed since Kyle Wright. You know, they should either excite you or scare you.
Jeez.
Howard Stern said, Florida has gotten so much talent over the last 40 years. They have one Hall of Famer in the last 3 recent decades, 2 in their history, and Miami has 11. F Florida, F those inbreds, and F John Summerall. I love Howard Stern's passion for the hate that he has for John Summerall, though. Peanut Thickman 592 said, okay. Howard Stern, our best players are from South Florida. Let's not forget our bread and butter. It's the same South Florida players that killed us the last 3 seasons. Yeah, no, definitely still great talent that comes out of South Florida. I've just been kind of on record saying that I just don't think like the depth wise of the classes are exactly the same as the past, but like the cream of the crop, like the top players, yeah, it's absolutely still there. They're like those type of guys are still there. Sigmund 4972. How many defensive tackles are we taking this year? You're gonna have to come back to me on that question. I'm not exactly sure right now. I haven't heard a specific number. B Rabbit, my son is 3.
I think that's pertaining to the Twins.
Yeah.
That's Amando.
Let's see. Daniel Castillo, isn't Rodriguez going to be a starting center as of right now? Yes, he is the starting center coming out of spring right now. Howard Stern, Texas got oil money, Miami's got cartel money and FU money. And he also said, I don't care who Texas Tech and Texas get, they can't coach for shit. Coaching matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Howard Stern, Howard Stern's on a roll tonight. I wasn't old enough to watch Russell Maryland play, but I've been watching some games from the 80s teams. Wow, he was amazing.
Mm-hmm. All those tackles were.
Let's see. It's a shame the Metro Rail boys, the ones that cheer the Hurricanes, dress up like the crazy fans, can't get tickets for the spring game. Damn effing shame. sometimes doesn't change. Yeah, it was just one of those things. It's like a first come,
Metro Rail boys, JD and the guys.
Yeah, I know JD and all of them. That's
JD kept. JD's the fan of the year, isn't he?
I believe so.
He was the previous year. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's gonna be Mondo this year.
Who knows?
Let's see here. Hurricane Hicks. Curious about Connor Rutherford, possible second Ohio guy and friend of Congdon. Yeah, he visited recently. I have to find out more on him, though. I don't want to tell you something wrong on that. I don't know enough about that recruitment right now. Hassan said, some Pakistani women are hot, but I'm like the United Nations. I like all different women from everywhere. Good point, Hassan. M Lemon Management. How's Ashari Charles looking? Pretty good early on. Naturally, one of the strongest guys in that defensive end room. Can move very well. I wouldn't say he's necessarily as long as a guy like Armando Blunt or, for example, another guy that has like big stature in that room as well. Marquise Lightfoot's actually pretty tall, actually. So I wouldn't say he's as long as those guys, a little more compact than them, but very strong for the position. Juan Manuel, why mess with a great situation? There are going to be QBs that will see Mensa like the QB from Cal who wants to improve his stock. Yes, keep getting a QB one more time. Yeah, I'm with Juan on it. Like we talked about earlier, like even Mondo mentioned too. Look, like if they don't feel yet that there's a guy there on the roster that they're comfortable with turning the keys over to, don't stop. Get another one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the narrative has been crushed, though, that, Miami can get a top quarterback from high school. They just did it.
True.
They land one of the 3 best quarterbacks for this upcoming class. So Howard Stern said, I'd rather have my son being a Gator fan. Oh, my God.
Jeez.
I'll touch that one.
Brutal. Humble Rabbi. I think Dawson not having Beck in the spring brought on a couple things. I do agree with him on this.
Good point. Yeah.
He created all those trick plays to move the ball and more Malacat stuff than he would have. Yeah. Like there was times, especially late in the playoffs, where like you kind of knew what was coming. They were trying to run the Malacat, and maybe it was being done a little too much and being forced a little too much.
But up until we weren't running those plays for the first several games, so maybe they did go vanilla because of the because he missed so much time, Beck.
Yep. Canes Jones said, damn. Mondo lasted the first 10 minutes before he got caught. Now he's outside getting bit to sleep by those mosquitoes. Humble Rabbi also mentioned here, he said, Beck's limitations won't be here this year off injury. No hit on Beck. Yeah, I think people are maybe not everyone, but I think maybe some fans are kind of underselling the fact that Darian Mintz is also getting the spring with Miami too. He's getting the spring and the fall.
Right.
Carson missed the spring last year. Incredible what Carson was able to do with his team last year, even missing the spring, like just getting ready to get in with fall camp and get with the guys and getting more work. Well, he worked with them a little bit before fall camp opened, but you catch my drift.
Yeah, he got the injury. He broke up with the Cavender girl. He got his Lamborghini stolen. I mean, the kid had it tough.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? He definitely came on top.
I think, you know what? I know there were people that were upset at him on the intercept game, but I think obviously we were better because he was on the team. And we don't, like Mondo said, we definitely don't go as far without him. Not even close. And Malachi does not have that year without him as this quarterback.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. For as special any receiver can be, you gotta have a guy that can at least consistently throw you the ball.
These guys are not.
Look at the perfect example I'll give, NFL wise. Look at a former Miami Hurricane, Andre Johnson, when he played with the Houston Texans. How many years, which I'm sure I've said it, I'm sure Mondo probably said it in the past, and you probably said it too, Brett, that, man, how much better could Andre Johnson's career have been in the NFL if he had better quarterbacks?
Correct, yeah.
And he still made the Hall of Fame, even when I think his best quarterback might have been like Matt Schaub or something like that.
Schaub, Matt Schaub was the guy. And Schaub, a lot of people, he was a pretty good quarterback. And But then, but you're right. I mean, if he would have had somebody, you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also agree with Humble Rabbi that, no hating on Beck. Like when I say that I feel that Mintz is a better fit for Dawson's offense, doesn't mean that like I think less of Beck as a player. I just think it's just fit wise, like how their skill set fits in. I still think Beck's a really good quarterback, especially what he did. Like, anyone who hates on Carson Beck, if you're a Miami fan and you hate on Carson Beck or you say, oh, he sucks or this or that, I can't agree with you because he was a big part in getting Miami to as far as they did this past season, the furthest they've ever gone in like 2 decades.
No, and it was so darn close. And nobody felt worse than Carson Beck in that pass. And I know that think how close we were. I mean, it's still – I mean, you think how close we were to winning that game.
Yeah, they were about 30, 40 yards out from winning it all.
Yeah.
Howard Stern, okay, guys, this is the last show probably before the NFL draft. No, we'll have one before the draft, I'm pretty sure. But he said here, okay, this is the last one before the NFL draft. Where do you see Bain and Francis getting picked? So I think we talked about it before in the last show. Brett, you think he falls out of the top 10, right?
I think he's definitely falling out of the top 10 now. I mean, even though this is something they've known about for a while, I just think there's I just think right now with everything going on, unfortunately, I hope he's not. I hope the Dolphins take him when they come up. If the Dolphins pass on him, I'm going to be really pissed off.
I think they both still go top 10, especially Bain.
I mean, I hope Bain lands on the Dolphins. Francis is definitely going, I think, in the top 5. If he's not top 5, if the Dolphins were to get being a Dolphin fan, I would like us to get Francis. I think Francis will be one of the premier offensive linemen for a decade, and I think Bain will be awfully special too. Someone's going to get him probably a little lower than they should have gotten him, but Bain he is a great human being, a great person, and everything like that. But when they're spending, talking about money, when they're spending $50 million on a player, they have to look at coaches, general managers have to say, you know what, my job is on the line if I pick the wrong guy, and they go safe. Team, I mean, you got to be, Dallas Cowboys. As much as I'm not a Cowboy fan or anything, but Jerry Jones isn't going to listen to anybody and who he's going to pick.
I think Reuben Bain is a Kansas City Chief or a Philadelphia Eagle by this time next week.
I can see Philadelphia. Well, Philadelphia's picking where?
Well, they would have to trade up, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if he drops all the way to either one of those teams, well, Kansas City's picking pretty high this year, aren't they?
Yeah. Number 9. They're actually considering maybe even moving up a little.
Seattle loves the Canes, and we're going to see how much our new guys love the Canes. Hopefully, these new guys from Green Bay says, hey, we believe in green. We're green and yellow over there. We believe in green and orange in the NFL college. So hopefully these guys are consistently picking Miami Hurricanes. We don't know.
Yeah. Mondo, what are your thoughts? You think well, I'm sure you probably think France is top 10, yeah.
I think I might side with Brett on top, if not top 5, top 7 on Mawanoa.
Okay.
Bain, well, unless it's smoke and mirrors, Kansas City's been interviewing him all off season and talking to him, so I see him going there. There's talk about the Saints as well. But I can see Kansas City moving up and getting him.
I don't want to see the Dolphins pay, but I'd love to see him go to Kansas City. That'd be a great opportunity for him to do that because he is he's going to be a special player, and that's a franchise that has nothing to. I mean, they don't have anything to prove, so they can go and take whoever they want. That would be a great fit for him.
Yeah, they're an older team, and on that D line they got Chris Jones, and Kelsey's probably got like a year or two left, so it'd be a nice situation for him.
Super Bowl favorites as the 9th pick in the draft. Could there be anything better? He would be blessed to go to that team.
Yep.
Just like Francis would be too. I mean, anyone being drafted in the top 10 by perennial champions that just had a bad year, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
And actually, there's talk of the Giants. Are they at 5? If I'm not mistaken. 5?
Potentially them taking Francis.
Well, imagine you go there, and Harbaugh is going to turn them around sooner or later. So,
correct. Good point.
He always likes a good offensive line, good defensive line. So, if Maui Noah goes there, that'd be nice.
He's a smash mouth guy. Yes, I think that'd be. And yes.
Let's see here. Black Raider Steel. More tempo and less fluff. Too many weapons not to score 40 plus. I agree, and I do expect more up tempo from Miami this year. Ron the Man, thank you for stopping by. I have gripes with Dawson, but his last 2 years led to number 1 offensive national championship. Yep, you got to put everything in perspective.
That's right.
Giovanni Foster, thank you for stopping by. Future starting 5. This is his prediction of a future Miami offensive line. Jackson Cantwell, Ford, S.J. Alafatuli, Joel Irvin, and Mark Matthews. Man. I mean, I don't think any fans could complain about that, but Ben Congdon's been really good early on too. Like it's such a great situation they have right now. Ron the Man also said spring game at the new soccer stadium next year would be nice. I agree. Pretty close.
Especially now Inter Miami's not playing there anymore.
Let's
they're not playing there now anyway.
I think he said the new soccer stadium.
The new soccer stadium. I apologize. My bad, Ron the Man and Mondo.
Andy said, if every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Absolutely. Follow the salmon.
Albert McKinney, I totally agree. Indiana, double Tony. Yeah, they did. Ron the Man, I feel like Beck's arm was never 100% last year. Never seemed to have the full strength he had. Yeah, I've said the same. A few former players have said the same too. Mondo, I know you've probably had that same thought as well during the playoff run. Certain things we saw. Brett, I think you mentioned it too. I think it's reasonable to say, he came off of a significant injury. He had that surgery and everything. Came back pretty early, honestly, considering what the injury was. I just, all in all, you even go back to that last pass, in the national championship. It seems like mentally he thought he was going to be able to line drive it to him, and it just didn't get enough arc that he thought it would get. And Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's tough to lose that way, but never. I'm gonna dog Carson Beck
Oh,
like talent wise or anything like that. He did so much for Miami in just 1 year.
I will say after the SMU game in the second half of the regular season, he was pretty damn on point though.
Oh,
He
totally.
really turned it up.
Outside of that pass in the championship game, the guy was
Yeah.
a big reason, and it's so surreal. Watching the game, the Alabama was it no, it was Georgia against who were they playing? No, when he got hurt, was it Alabama he was playing?
They were playing Alabama,
And he got hurt. And little did I think at that time, first thing I was thinking was, well, maybe he's hurt. Then we'll get in the playoffs last year because now they're going to say they don't have a quarterback. And if they get, so I was, they just beat Georgia Tech. And if they would have lost to Georgia Tech. So I was all excited about that. Never in my wildest mind when I think at that moment, Carson Beck was going to come to Miami and we were going to go to the national championship.
Yeah. So we just got a few questions here and we're done for the night. Howard Stern said, Gio, when Florida State fires Mike Norvell, who do you see as some early candidates for that job? Whew. Yeah, I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen.
What's it take for them to do that?
In terms of them like hiring a new guy, I'm not even sure to begin with like what the names would be. I'll say this: there are some prominent media members that are like Florida State alumni that I've had discussion with in the past, or I've had discussion from like a third party like that knows them. They are absolutely devastated with the state of their program. Like they cannot, like they're in utter disbelief with where things are, just like from a donor level and everything. Florida State would need an injection of things very similar to like what happened with Miami when Manny Diaz was let go, like a total renewal of infrastructure. I think more than just the head coach, like there's an infrastructural problem at Florida State right now.
Yeah, they're in big trouble right now.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. At least UF has a new coach and maybe somewhat of a better outlook on things. But yeah, FSU is like, well, as you said, the only reason they kept them, they didn't want to pay the buyout. Am I wrong? Is that?
Yeah.
That's public knowledge. The only reason they kept the coach is because they didn't want to pay a buyout.
It's a dead man walking.
Yeah.
Howard Stern said, Gio, who was the coach from FSU that told the NCAA that Devin Esther had cheated on his SAT so he wouldn't go to Miami? Was it Chuck Amato? I'm not sure if it was Chuck Amato or not. I would have to, who would actually know that for sure, Howard? You would have to ask Steve Kim. Steve Kim would have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always joke with Steve. I'm like, I'm going to find something about the 1980 team that you don't know shit about. And he knows everything about every damn year. It's crazy.
Yeah, no. Steve Kim is like anything you want to talk about pre-2000s, he is an encyclopedia. Like before the internet stuff for Miami, he knows it. So he's got incredible stories. So Gigi from X shared here thoughts on recruiting in the state of Louisiana. Absolutely. They have great defensive linemen that have come out of there. They have great defensive backs, great receivers, great running backs. Louisiana has great talent that comes out of that area. Not always do they go to the LSU either. They go to surrounding schools, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, So you can pluck some guys out of there. Hurricane Hicks, Bane to the Bengals. I've heard of that one too.
That would be great because they got Joe Burrow, who I think is right now going ahead and wavering if he really wants to go. I mean, they need offensive linemen too because he's beat up every time too. But
they desperately need O-line.
They desperately need defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andre Johnson can only blame himself. He should have left or demanded trade. Yeah, but I mean, you can't fault the guy for being loyal too.
I mean, he still made. This shows how great he is. He still made the Hall of Fame. Remember, if you look up when you get a chance, you guys and those watching, look up wide receivers that have not made the Hall of Fame. Torrey Holt, Tim Brown. There's like all guys with like 15,000 yards that haven't gotten in. And this guy got in, like to your point, like a Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. Can you imagine Andre Johnson at 6'2", 6'3", 220 with Peyton Manning?
Oh, man.
He would have broken probably every damn record known to man. Yeah, I mean, he didn't win, I get it, but just physical freak, that guy.
Great
The
point.
sun shared here. Great show, like always, fellas, and Canes family. Smash the like button and subscribe. Yes, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Jose, I hope Heatherman has a stipulation in his new contract that he can't go to FSU when Norvell gets fired. That would be a disaster for us.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think he would necessarily go there. I think if Heatherman ever got a head coach job one day, I think it would be something more in the Midwest. Howard Stern, the Dolphins coaches look like Beavis and Butthead, the TikTok version.
Well, I will say they finally, I mean, obviously, long way to go, but we'll see. But you bring guys from the Packers, I think they might be finally headed. Well, number one, they're doing the right thing. They're blowing it up, which they should have done 5 years ago. Blow the whole damn thing up and start from scratch.
Yeah.
I know some fans don't want to hear that, and you want to be 9-8 every year in purgatory, which is worse. Blow that shit up, start it from the gutter, and just rebuild.
Finally.
And honestly, I love their running back. I think he's a hell of a football player. He can pass catch. He can run. But to me, you got a decision to make because either you got to pay him big because he's going to want a lot of money. Like, do you move him now and get max value back, or do you wait a year, then maybe he gets hurt? It's interesting to see what they do with the running back. A-chain there.
I think you're in full rebuild mode right now.
Yeah, if you can get a haul,
get your value right now because
they have to get at least they have to get at least one, or I don't know if they can get 2 ones because he can do so much. But these two guys like the big running backs also. Everyone for Green Bay was, but they're supposedly going to sign HN, and they do have a quarterback. They need to leave something in there. They signed the kid to be quarterback who's very dynamic. They do need a receiver in there besides who they have. So do
you think he holds out? Do you think he holds out?
I think that they were supposed to sign him already, so who knows? He just didn't get a voluntary camp.
Yeah,
hold out.
I know what I'm saying, but like his perspective, or maybe his agent is like, obviously the cupboard's bare, the O-line and all that. He's opening himself up to majors, like any football player is opening themselves to injury every time they take the field. But especially in his case, where you got nothing around you. Well, he's probably thinking, "Lil, I need to get paid." So
we'll see who they draft. If they draft. I don't think they'll draft a running back, but if they draft a running back with the first or second pick, if they draft Jeremiah Love, they're probably going to go ahead and.
No, they're not drafting a running back in the first round. They have a lot more problems.
And then they're not going to. They'd pay him a lot. Well, yeah, I doubt they're drafting a running back, but the second round or third round they could. Okay, they drafted when they had HN and they had Mostert. They drafted Jalen Wright out of Tennessee in the 4th round.
Yeah,
or third round.
So Howard also shared, how do you see Cam Ward and Kevin? I think he meant Jordan Love playing together for the next 5 to 10 years. Is it a good match?
Yeah, I was like, Kevin Love?
I think he's talking about the Packers QB. Like in terms of like future guys like at quarterback. I think that's what he means.
Is there
I think Jordan Love is pretty good already as it is. I think Cam, unfortunately,
but Cam Ward and Jordan Love couldn't play together because they're both quarterbacks. So it's a Kevin something, or is it Kevin the coach? I don't know.
No, I think he's talking about Jordan Love from Green Bay.
But he says, "How do you see Cam Ward
playing together?" I don't get that.
No.
He's talking about Jordan Love.
Let's see here. Howard also said, it's time for Pat Riley to move to Boca. He has not brought a superstar to Miami since Alonzo Mourning. LeBron James did not come to Miami for Pat Riley. Well, no, they got Jimmy, even though, D-Wade.
I don't believe that. I do believe he came for Pat Riley also. He came for the rings. And Wade learned to win from Riley, and LeBron learned to win from Wade and Riley. So I think LeBron did come, but Pat Riley was a big reason why he came.
Yeah, I think it played a part there. Yeah. I'll say this, though. I've always been a big Pat Riley guy, but I will say over the last 3 years, my opinion has soured. And look, you don't have to take it at face value, my opinion on this, but, they weren't able to get the Giannis thing done before the trade deadline. Now there's reports surfacing again that they're going to try in the summer or whatnot. I've heard this story too many times. I think if there's not a splash made this summer, blow it up, please. Look, I get it. Heat culture is being competitive. You don't want to be a team that's out of the playoffs every year or whatever. Yeah, they're getting to the playoffs, they're getting into the play-in or whatever. But eventually, as a fan, and I'm speaking from, I didn't grow up as a Dolphins fan. I grew up a Heat fan and Hurricanes and everything. I was never really into the Dolphins, but just a little parallel here between the Heat and Dolphins. You never want to be in purgatory of the sport. That you're not good enough to win, but you're not bad enough to maybe luck into a really special player through the draft. So
in the middle.
I
think Big O always says about the Dolphins stuck in the middle. They've been stuck in the middle for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Which you're not a top 3 bottom pick and you're not winning the Super Bowl. So it's the worst position to be. Stuck in the middle.
You don't want to be stuck in the middle. So that the way I look at it is like this. If you can't get a big fish this summer, I think that's it. The writing's on the wall. That it's just not gonna happen. At least with current management and everything, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, their roster is not. They've been a play-in team like 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. Yeah, they're not looking so hard.
Giannis wasn't going to be traded to anybody, and then they didn't want to play him. So it was like, we're not trading anybody for, and then we're not going to play him either because we don't want him to get hurt. So Milwaukee is a screwed up organization, more so than us, because they got the kid, who was it they got last year from Portland? What was Dame? They got him. He got hurt, of course, but they weren't playing spectacular with him. So would he be the answer? We didn't get him, but we offered him a lot. Some teams don't want to trade with the Heat for some reason.
Yeah, I will say this: Giannis in the last couple of years has had foot injuries and lower leg injuries, so he's starting to get over 30.
Kevin Durant didn't win when he was on the trade market. Anybody could have. I mean, he won with Golden State, and then he left. And everybody said, "Why didn't we get him?" He won with nobody.
I know there's been plenty of Heat fans though as well that they've been super hopeful and optimistic, like, oh, maybe Anthony Edwards will come to Miami or whatever because of the connections and everything. It's always being the hopeful. But look, I was very critical of it, that I felt that they kind of wasted away the Jimmy era. Like, I always felt like there was never that hard enough push to get another big time star next to him. It was just like, we'll add something, but like we're not going to get like another big time guy. I think that's what was missing. I think if you ended up getting another big time guy back then, you probably get a ring or two out of it, honestly.
Yeah, a team that really built themselves up from the bottom is the Spurs. The Spurs have a lot of good young talent. I didn't even realize. I woke up this morning and I saw the flash on my phone that due to the results yesterday, that OKC got a top 10 pick somehow.
Oh, really?
From something that happened in the results yesterday. Yeah, OKC has a top 10 pick in the draft.
I don't. But they lucked into, not that they lucked into because they got the trade, but they got SGA on a trade. I mean, for a player that's done nothing. I mean, bouncing around the league left and right, and he was good on Indiana.
Yeah,
but he's just it's just, and they got him. I mean, he is the franchise.
If you look at the OKC and San Antonio rosters, they're all like in their early to mid 20s. Those two teams look scary like going forward.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that's happened in the NBA now. Players don't care as much to go to a smaller market team.
No.
The money's still going to be there for them regardless. So they don't care if you're in Miami or you're in New York or anything. Like, they'll go to small market teams now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, look, like I said, if they don't get a big fish this offseason, blow the roster up. You start over.
Good point. That sounds right there. Okay. We're
Vincent Miller. Hopefully Carson will last. Mobile QB will be the last mobile QB have lined up behind center. We need to get back to getting our backups in the game to play the fourth quarter. That in-game experience is invaluable. Yeah, I agree. Just getting those younger guys, those reps and everything. I absolutely agree. I would like to see more of that. Albert McKinney said Beck got hurt against Texas in the SEC and came back. Oh, so it was against Texas. Yeah, I forgot which team they were playing. But I know it was the SEC championship. Howard said, Jordan Love and Cam Ward, I heard the Tennessee Titans are looking to draft. They were looking to draft Love out of Notre Dame.
Hassan nails. He's talking about Jeremiah Love, who I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love. So.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
And,
I mean, that would be an interesting.
Jeremiah Love would be a great combination, and you can still get So I mean, can Cam Ward have the year that the Washington quarterback had a couple of years ago and took him to the NFC Championship, right, against the Eagles?
Well, we talked about it here before. The new offensive coordinator was the former coach of the Giants, isn't it? Daboll.
Yeah, Brian Daboll.
And supposedly, when they the year that Tennessee drafted Cam Ward, the Giants were in the top 2 or top 3, and they loved Cam Ward.
Yeah, they were trying to trade with Tennessee to get that pick.
Tennessee.
So I think Daboll with him is going to be a nice match.
I think so. I like I'm high on Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't think Stefanski was doing him any favors last year. Notice how he started playing better the moment they moved on from him.
Mm-hmm.
Hassan shared here. I believe he's talking about Jeremiah Love.
Yes.
He confirmed that. JoJo Gunn, Tennessee has lots of holes to fill. I agree. I think they have some pieces on defense, but just offensively, I think their O-line needs some work. I think they need some better receivers as well. There needs to be some work there. But I do think Cam could make another jump this year, especially that second half of the season. It seemed like he started getting better. 305 Sports Now said, hey, guys. Hey, what's up, Will? I'm going to be on with Will tomorrow, actually. He said, I totally agree with Vincent. Yeah, I agree. And Jose said, I hope Ward fights to get CC. He needs protection more right now.
I agree. I'd love to see that, too, for Tennessee. I mean, I
think I've seen a mock before where they had Tennessee taking Francis, but we'll see on draft day.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Well, those were all the questions and comments for tonight. There's hundreds of them, but we absolutely love and appreciate the support. Thank you for everyone stopping by. I had over 1,000 people stopping by here to watch this evening. Thank you always to the late night crew. We'll be back on again soon. I will have some type of impromptu show at some point, whether it's sometime Saturday, depending on how things work out that day, or if it's early Sunday morning. There is going to be something here for CanesWear TV as well. I will be going live again with Amon. It's going to be sometime. It's either tomorrow or Saturday as well. So multiple shows coming. And I'll be on with Will tomorrow with 305 Sports Now as well. Also, make sure to stop by Canes Jones X Spaces as always. It's from 5 to 7 tomorrow. I'll be in there. I'm sure you'll see usual faces. Usually Alex Dono stops by and everything, and other guys as well in Miami media. But most of all, and most importantly of everything, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the brand new YouTube channel, CanesWear on YouTube. Just look it right up in the search bar. You'll find it right away. Shop at the store, CanesWear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. You can download the app on the Google or Apple app stores. There's exclusive rewards and benefits for being on the app. And you could also just shop online at CanesWear.com. Brett, any last thoughts?
Mondo, before I say, or I'll just say before Mondo, you can close this out, Mondo, actually. Thank you again for everyone that joined. The show's been fantastic. People talking about it, people come to the store all the time. Hey, we see you guys on the show. So if there's anything, requests or anything you have, we want to be your show. We want to do some special things, and we will plan on doing them. So thank you so much for being part of our shows. Mondo?
No, thanks to both of you. Thanks to everybody watching, and looking forward to Saturday. Obviously, a lot of people you go back and forth with online and stuff, but it's always good to see the faces and the families and supporting our Canes that we always love to do. So see you guys out there Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. So I'll see you guys out there.
All right, great. Well, thank you, and go Canes.
Go Canes.